إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له، وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء، واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم، ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد، فإن أصدق الحديث كلام الله، وخير الهدي هدي محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. عباد الله, indeed the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم يوم عرفة وقف وخطب الناس. He stood and he addressed the people, and he advised them and admonished them with affairs that they needed to give great importance to. And Allah Azza wa Jal, He sent down on that day, اليوم أكملت لكم دينكم وأتممت عليكم نعمتي ورضيت لكم الإسلام دينا. Allah Azza wa Jal, He sent down on that day upon His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam that today I have completed your religion and I have perfected my favor upon you, and I am pleased with Islam as a religion for you. So Islam is a religion that is complete from every nahiyah, from every aspect. There is no incompletion in Islam. So as the Salaf, they used to say, what was not part of the religion on that day, then it will not be on the religion, or it will not be from the religion at any other time. But in spite of that, it saddens us that we find from the people are those that seek out a religion other than Islam, or they seek out other than Islam to be part of it. They seek out affairs that are outside of Islam and desire to make them from the religion of Islam. And indeed, from that which is known and agreed upon, that any time someone innovates in the religion by bringing into it that which is not from it, then they kill by way of that one of the sunnahs of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. مَا أُحْدِثَ فِي الدِّينِ إِلَّا أُمِيتَتْ بِهِ سُنَّةً. No innovation is made in the religion except that some sunnah dies because of it. وَإِلَيْكُمْ قَوْلُ حُذَيْفَةَ. And for you is the statement of Hudayfa, when he took two stones and he placed one of them above the other, and he asked his companions, do you all see any light coming from in between these two stones? And they said, no, there is no light in between these stones. And he said, then likewise the affair of innovation, how it will come one on top of the other, and there will be the light of the truth will not be seen amongst it. In the midst of this innovation, the light of the truth will not be seen, except how the light is seen between these two stones. Likewise, Ibn Abbas and Al-Khawalani and other than them, they all had similar statements, saying that ما أحدثت أمة في دينها بدعة إلا رفع الله بها عنهم سنة. That no nation innovates amongst themselves in their religion any innovation, and except that Allah raises one of the sunnahs from them. And in a statement of one of the others, إلا نزع الله بها من سنة الرسول فلا يعود إليهم حتى يوم القيامة. Except that Allah snatches away from them the sunnah of His messenger, and it will not return to them until the day of judgment. Indeed, the affair of innovation is so severe. It's so severe that the Prophet ﷺ, in every occasion, would warn us from innovation. في خطبة حاجتي فيقول وإياكم ومحدثات الأمور. And I advise you against every newly innovated affair. For every newly innovated affair is an innovation. And every innovation is misguidance. And every misguidance leads to the hellfire. And we notice that the Prophet ﷺ, he would warn us against innovation at a time when no innovation existed. So when the Prophet ﷺ warned time and time again about innovation and its danger, there was no innovation during that time. So why did he warn so much from it? Indeed, it was to show us the severity of the affair of innovation and how much precaution we need to take from it. For indeed, the affair of innovation is something that enters upon us very easily. And the majority of us might not know or might not give concern to it. But it's upon us that we leave off innovation and adhere to the Sunnah. Because indeed innovation has become widespread in all of the affairs of Islam. Whether it be in the affair of Aqidah or Ibadah or Mu'amalat, interactions, or in character and mannerisms, we find that in all of these sections of the religion with numerous groups, innovation has become widespread. And I set for you an example that most of us probably never thought about it once a day in our life. An example that most of us fall into it and have given it no concern. And due to how popular and how widespread it is, even those of us who might know fall into it on a daily basis. So from the things that the Prophet ﷺ advised the people with in that khutbah, Yawm al-Arafah, he said that indeed, قد استدار الزمان إن الزمان قد استدار كهيئته يوم خلق الله السماوات والأرض. Indeed, the time has reverted to the way it was when Allah Azza wa Jal created the skies and the earth. The affair that we're going to set the example with about the subtle nature of innovation, but about the danger that it possesses in spite of that, is the affair of dates. In using the terminology of the non-Muslims in our months and in our days. For indeed, this is an affair that Allah Azza wa Jal, He said, إِنَّ عِدَّةَ الشُّهُورِ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ 12 شهرا في كتاب الله يوم خلق السماوات والأرض منهن 4 حرم ذلك الدين القيم فلا تظلموا فيهن أنفسكم. Allah Azza wa Jal, He says that verily the amount of months with Allah is 12 months in the book of Allah from the day He created the skies and the earth. From them are 4 sacred months. That is the correct religion. So do not oppress in them yourselves. We see that in this ayah, Allah Azza wa Jal, He made the affairs of the months and that which connects to them from the religion of Islam. ذَلِكَ الدِّينُ الْقَيِّمُ. But in spite of that, we find that there are a large number of Muslims who give no concern to this. They give no concern to the affairs of the months and the days. So if I was to ask you all, as the Prophet ﷺ asked his companions on that day, أَيَّ يَوْمٍ هَذَا فَبِمَاذَا تُجِيبُونَ? If I was to ask you the way the Prophet ﷺ asked his companions, what day is this? Then how would you respond? Would you respond with Yawmul Jumu'ah? Or would you respond with a statement that wallahi the messenger would free himself from you by saying this is Frida's day, or the God known as Frida's day, as we say so often, Friday? If I ask you what month was this, would you say Rajab from the Ashhur al-Hurum, Rajab from the 4 sacred months? Or would you say that this is the month of Maya, the month of May, the deity that they worship in their springs? Indeed, it's important that we give these things great concern. We should not use these haram innovative names that have been introduced amongst the people. But if you remind the people about this and tell them the danger of using these names and these terminologies, they say, Wallahi ya akhi, Islam came to make things easy. Why are you making it hard on the people? Why are you making it necessary for us to use the names and the terminology that came in the Hijri calendar when Islam came to make it easy? The sunnah is to make things easy. But as we said, لَتَفْشُوَنَّ الْبِدْعَةِ, that the bid'ah will become so widespread that if the people leave it, they will say they've left the sunnah. They'll say we left the sunnah, admonishing them about these days. But indeed the sunnah isn't following these days. They'll say, why do you make it obligatory upon us to know and use these days from the his or the calendar of the Muslims? And we live in a land of the non-Muslims when no one uses these days. How will we interact? How will we conduct our business and our affairs and our daily lives if we use the Tariq al-Hijri? But then I ask you by Allah, how do you live and conduct your lives with regards to the religion of Allah if you don't know the dates and the months and the days of the Muslims? How do you command your children to pray at 7 when you don't know when 7 years have passed? Or do you make that based on the 12 months of the Gregorian calendar? How do you give the zakat of your money when you don't know when a year has passed? Or do you base that on the months of the Gregorian calendar? How do those women amongst you who have given up their periods and so they're too old or too young count their iddas when they don't know the months of the Muslims? How do you know when to fast, when to perform hajj? And you ask, how should we interact? Then indeed, you should interact with the religion of Allah more and foremost before concerning ourselves with the dates and the days of the non-Muslims. Some people might say that you're making this from the religion, but it's just an affair of terminology, and it doesn't make a difference what we call them. But then I respond to you with saying, didn't we not just say that indeed Allah Azza wa Jal made this from the religion? So he said, ذَلِكَ الدِّينُ الْقَيِّمُ, that this is the correct religion. I ask you, why did the Sahaba radiallahu anhum come together and make a date and a calendar that the Muslims would use? Was it for no good purpose? Or was there some wisdom therein? Indeed, it was for some great purpose. And we all know that خَيْرُ النَّاسِ قَرْنِ الرَّسُولِ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ ثُمَّ الَّذِينَ يَلُونَهُمْ. And we all know that the best generations was the generation of the Prophet, and then those who came after, and then those who came after. So when we leave off keeping track of our days and our months and calling them what they call them, to follow those who are indeed without doubt worse than them. Maybe someone will come and he'll say, you said that this is from the religion, but this was something that the Sahaba came together to make the months and the calendar the way that they did. But I'll say to you, and you might say that where's the wahi from Allah in that? And where's the revelation from the Prophet in that? But the response would be the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, alaykum bi sunnati وَسُنَّةِ الْخُلَفَاءِ الرَّاشِدِينَ الْمَهْدِيِّينَ. Upon you is my sunnah, and the sunnah of the Khulafa al-Rashideen al-Mahdiyeen, and the sunnah of my rightly guided predecessors. Did not the Salaf from the Sahaba all agree on the mandation of using these dates and these times and these names, and abandoning that which was used by Persia and Rome? Indeed, this is from the sunnah of the Messenger and his companions. And if we look at the statement of the Salaf from after the Sahaba, we find this to be agreed upon all too often. So this is Imam Ahmad and other than him saying that it is haram to name the months with these names if you don't know what they mean. And if you know what they mean and the meaning is good, then it is still disliked. Likewise, Shaykh al-Islam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, he said in his book Iqtida' as-Sirat al-Mustaqim and in other than them, that naming these months with these names is something that is not permissible. Naming it with the names of the non-Muslims is something that is not permissible. And when we look at our modern day scholars, like Abdul Aziz bin Baz, واللجنة الدائمة, والشيخ Uthaymeen, والشيخ Salih al-Fawzan, hafidhullah, when he said, whoever uses the dates of the non-Muslims, then he has participated with them in enlivening their tenets and their celebrations. And due to the sake of being different than them, the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they legislated a date for the Muslims during the time period of the Khalifa Umar, and they abandoned the time or the calendar of the kuffar, and they made their calendar based on the hijrah. And all of this shows us the obligation of being different from the kuffar and their calendar. This is a clear statement for one of our most esteemed scholars, showing us that it is obligatory upon us to abandon the usage of these days and these names in our time. So indeed, the affair of the months and the weeks and the days, the naming them and the defining them and the usage of them is that which has been prescribed by the religion. And the awareness of them is something that is obligatory upon every Muslim due to the fact that the religion is connected to these times. So how many of us have given importance to that before? And how many of us teach our children these dates and these names as if they're the foundation? Or do we teach them Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Indeed, this is something that we should be concerned about. And this is only one of the affairs of innovation that has entered amongst us. And we see its gravity. So how about those affairs that we haven't given consideration before? Indeed, O servants of Allah, we need to pay close attention to our religion and protect it from every small or big thing that might enter in it. Because indeed, that which we might consider to be small could be from the most greatest of major sins. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah. وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن والاه. Ibadallah, as we said, some people, they might not give concern to this. And they'll leave off using the dates or the names for the dates in the months of the Muslims. And in abandoning the names and abandoning the usage of the Muslim calendar, there are great harms. From these harms is the losing of a lot of the affairs of the religion and the focal points of the Sharia. So an individual, for example, wouldn't know when are the ayyam al-bid that he should fast or when to give his zakat. He won't know the times that the religion told us to pay importance to if we don't give importance to knowing and using in our daily life the Hijri calendar. Also from the harm of using the calendar of the non-Muslims is resembling the kuffar in their ways and in their affairs. And it is a way of participating with them and esteeming their religion. And even worse than that, and perhaps from the greatest of harms in using these names and dates, is something that some of us might not even consider. And indeed, the Prophet ﷺ, he said, إِنَّ الرَّجُلَ لَيَتَكَلَّمُ بِكَلِمَةٍ لَا يَرَى بَأْسًا يَهْوِي بِهَا 70 خَرِيفًا فِي النَّارِ. Indeed, a person will say a statement. He doesn't pay any concern to it, but he'll fall 70 falls or 70 seasons of fall, basically 70 years into the hellfire because of it. And from that, what is known about using these names for the months and for the year or for the days is that these all come from the names of their alihah. Like the month January, in March, in June. These are all names of their alihah. So how do you feel about your child when he says, or about yourself when you say, I love March, it's my favorite time of the year? Do you even consider the fact that what you just said was that I love this false deity that they worship? Or do you think that's not really the case? If this month was named Lat, would you go around saying, I love Lat, it's my favorite time of the year? If it was named Uzza, would you go around saying, I love Uzza, it's my favorite time of the year? How many times do we say the best day is Thursday? It's the best day of the week. But Thursday means Thor's day, a deity that they used to worship. Do you give this any concern and understand that you've just attributed a day to a false deity? And this is an aspect of making shirk with Allah. Indeed, this is something that most of us don't consider. But we say it all too often, and maybe a statement, an individual gives it no concern, and he'll fall 70 years into the hellfire because of it. Indeed, a group of Muslims, we need to pay attention to our religion and protect it. And we need to use that which the Salaf used in every affair. And we need to train ourselves to abandoning these ideas that came to us from outside the Muslims. For indeed what was not the religion that day will never be the religion. وَأَقِيمُوا الصَّلَاةِ